Work hard. Be somebody. Be something more than what you see in the mirror. Let the world be your mirror. Don't let them judge you, because the mirror can't judge you. You judge what you see in the mirror.
What's up, YouTube? It's Tired Night. You're tuning to Test Life. I'm about to be reacting to another Jimmy Howler video. A video about Shaq and Michael Jordan. It's called When a Rookie Shaq Bullied Prime Michael Jordan and Almost Got Away with It. So yeah, this should be an interesting video. Jimmy Howler videos are if you watch my videos, you know, like I always start off with this intro where, like when I react to Jimmy Howler, I break down how good his videos are. The title, the title's always intriguing. Like I always have to look at the title. I'm like, okay, I have to click on this. But the thumbnail is like, this catches my attention. And yeah, this seems like could be an interesting video. Shaq almost bullying Michael Jordan. We can see that how that could happen because Shaq is so dominant and he's big and strong, but almost, yeah, you can get it. like you can understand the title from just looking at it. It's like, okay, almost, yeah, because Jordan's not gonna allow that. It could almost happen because it's Shaq and he's so dominant. But yeah. But we're about to get into this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. I'm trying to take over this summer. I'm trying to be more consistent. So yeah, hit that subscribe button and tune in, because if you don't, you're missing out. I'm telling you. But yeah, let's get into this video.
Is simply wow. On January 16th, 1993, Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal had one of the greatest duels of the decade.
Jordan pops out right wing. Now fires as he enables his teammates up to 5 now. They play that two-man game. Now wants to go to work on Purdue. Ran well out of the way. And they say play on as he just threw it in. He posted up now on Boo. Backs in the lane, hits again. Oh, he hurt his hand. He hurt that wrist. He hurt the hand. He went down very high. Neal, jump hook. Oh, boy, look at him go right before he gets in his face.
He said, I jumped out of his way. Creates the shots he can hit. Here it is. Oh.
Tough lob. Skiles comes off the screen right in, and Jordan came over and picks up the foul. Michael's fourth. Scottie Pippen finds Jordan right side off the screen. MJ. And it's a one-point game.
His high for this year, 29 points, is just 6 below his season high.
In a back-and-forth battle that went into overtime, Jordan dropped 64 points, and Shaq had a 30-20 game with 5 blocks. The Magic, a brand new franchise that finished with just 21 wins in the previous season, defeated the reigning NBA champs. This was only the second time Shaq faced off against Jordan, but in one of the quietest rivalries in NBA history, this saga was far from over. In fact, in this epic matchup, Shaq would do something that would come back to haunt him years later.
Everybody went down that time, and it was a foul call.
Jordan turns and faces. Shaq clock at 7, 6, and whoa! Shaquille, that might really hit him hard. MJ is down. Shaquille came over and really hit him. Now he's lifted him up.
I can't let him dunk on me. That's not gonna happen. I had to touch him up. There's one I'm not getting dunked on. That'll be a poster forever, because Mike was the man at the time. So when I go to help him up, he said, don't let it help nobody else. Great foul. Don't do that. I don't need your help. But I'm coming back. Don't you worry.
Really delivered a blow to him.
Yeah, for sure.
If there's one thing that 2020 has taught us, it's that relying on a job, a 9-to-5 job.
Fouls like that, fouls like that are like smart. Usually I don't condone like purposely fouling somebody, but if the person's about to dunk on you and like you're in the NBA and that's your brand, like if you're getting dunked on, that like it probably wouldn't hurt Shaq's brand, but Shaq was probably he's a young NBA player. He's thinking about like I don't want to get dunked. No one wants to get dunked on. First of all, no one wants to get dunked on. So whenever I've done that couple times when someone's coming into the key, I slap their arm purposely. If the guy looks like he can get up, and I'm coming in late, and I can't meet him to where I can stop him from dunking, I have to slap his arm. Like, you're not dunking on me. No, it's not happening. And in this situation, like, there's guys that got dunked on and ended their career. That was not going to happen to Shaq, obviously, because Shaq is so dominant and he was bound to be a Hall of Famer. But like that's what you think about. Like, you don't want to get dunked on. Like, it's a pride thing too. Like, you're not gonna allow someone to dunk on you. And plus, if he sees that he might not have any chance to stop him from dunking or scoring, he's gonna foul him. It's a good foul. Is what it is. You have to. Your main goal is to stop stop the person. Like, when you're on defense, stop the person from scoring. So, I mean, he did what he had to do. Because when Jordan gets in that key, he's unpredictable. You might be up there with him, but he's gonna move out the way and still dunk on you. Like, he's gonna go up, move, dunk on you. Like, he does those sneaky type of dunks. So I don't blame Shaq for that foul, to be honest.
Driving to the basket, MJ gets hammered by Shaq, a tactic that was just as much psychological as it was physical. Ever since Shaquille O'Neal stepped onto a basketball court, his message was to prove he was bigger and stronger than everyone else. That no matter how hard you came at him, he would come back 10 times harder.
Yeah.
But in his attempt to get inside Jordan's head, Shaq inadvertently sparked a fire inside MJ that would later lead to a career-altering decision. In the early 90s, Shaquille O'Neal bullied his way into NBA superstar status like no other rookie had done before. In his first 10 games...
That's Shaq's game, though. His game is based off of, like, bullying people. Like, just using his pure strength and ability to move his defender. And, yeah, that's basically how he got his buckets. Shaq was definitely skilled, but he didn't use it most of the time. When he was younger, he'd use it. He'd go coast to coast, dribbling the ball, and he's like 7'2", 280 probably around that time. So yeah, Shaq was skillful, but like later on in his career, when he got bigger, he just used his body, and he was good at using his body. He was really good at that, and yeah, he was good at using that drop step, put that elbow on your back, and dunk on you. So yeah. So that's his game. He bullies people. So I guess in his game he tried to bully Jordan, and it just didn't happen. He just didn't get away with it, because at that time I wouldn't call that bullying. He just fouled him hard. But I guess the next game they played, he must have tried to do that dominant basketball where he just uses his body to get through defenders, and I guess Jordan wasn't having it. So we're about to see what happens.
Shaq was putting up stat lines that no 20-year-old rookie should be putting up.
Yeah,
the basketball world knew he would be good, but this good, this early, was unheard of. In 1996, Shaq made the 50 greatest players in NBA history list in just his third season at the age of 23. To put this into perspective, the youngest player in last year's All-Star game was 22. At the moment, these are the best 23-year-olds in the NBA. It would be an impossible stretch to say that any of these players would be considered a top 50 player of all time. In fact, only 2 of them have an all-star appearance. And yet, at this point in his career, Shaq was on the same list as the best players to ever lace up. But no matter how incredible Shaq was, as long as Jordan was in the league, he would be an afterthought in regards to the best player in the NBA. The conversation is always Kobe versus Michael. But while Kobe was trying to earn a spot on his high school's varsity team, Shaq was busy trying to dethrone a prime Michael Jordan. And after losing again and again and again, Shaquille O'Neal actually succeeded. After the 1992-93 season, Mike took his infamous break from basketball, leaving the door wide open for Shaq to take over the NBA. Just one season into the league, Shaq and the rest of the world were taken by surprise when a prime Michael Jordan retired from basketball. And with Jordan busy playing baseball, Shaq asserted himself as the most dominant player on the planet. Jordan leaving the game was the best thing that could ever have happened for a young Shaquille O'Neal. At this point, the Magic had established themselves as the best team in the East behind their young dynamic duo in Shaq and Penny. Each game getting one step closer to the seemingly inevitable fact that Shaquille O'Neal was going to be the face of the NBA, established themselves as the best team in the East behind their young dynamic duo in Shaq and Penny. Each game getting one step closer to the seemingly inevitable fact that Shaquille O'Neal was going to be the face of the NBA for the foreseeable future. In the next 2 seasons, Shaq had turned a failing franchise into an NBA powerhouse. From 21 wins to 57 wins in just 3 seasons, topping the East in 1995. Averaging 27, 13, and 3 while earning 2 All-NBA team selections, a Rookie of the Year award, and a scoring title at just 22 years old. This was his time. He had the team, he had the talent, and Mike had vacated his #1 spot. How could you possibly stop a 7'1", 300-pound freak of nature?
You wanted to get away from the media. They had no more challenges. Less than 2 years, you're back.
Smile Direct Club brought you a better way to straighten. And now we're bringing you a better way to white.
Just at the moment Shaq thought he was free from Jordan's reign, Michael decided maybe basketball was a sport after all, and returned to the game in the spring of 1995. And that fast track to the NBA Finals just took a detour for Shaq and the Magic. But the last time Michael played Shaq, the Magic weren't even a playoff team. Now, just 2 seasons later, they were the best team in the East and had all the ingredients for a future dynasty. Meanwhile, the Bulls were recovering from their Jordanless year, and for the first time since the 80s, the Bulls didn't look like the obvious favorite. In the 1995 NBA playoffs, snatched the torch from Jordan. And he did just that.
Big guy gets it there. O'Neal with the fadeaway, and it's now 7-2, Magic with a lead. Looks for the lob, and Shaq drives it in. Starts to back in, build up over the help, but you can't do that. The Bulls side for Shaq. O'Neal, jump hook. And he's 2 for
In against Shaq. Try to adjust in the air, and he will.
Goes low, Shaq with a steal. Tries to go length to the floor and slam.
And he does. What a big play by Shaquille O'Neal.
The big guy, O'Neal, tosses it in. Backs it in. O'Neal throws it in.
Basket by Shaq.
On the floor, Shaq, and that'll do it. O'Neal with the slam. And the Orlando Magic are going to win this series over the Chicago Bulls. The Orlando Magic here will come into the United Center in Chicago and defeat the Chicago Bulls.
For the first and only time in his prime, Michael Jordan and the Bulls were knocked out of the playoffs. The once unbeatable team had fallen to a 22-year-old Shaquille O'Neal and company, and Shaq's master plan had finally become a reality. A run that shocked the basketball world and even Shaq himself.
I'm studying him because I want what he has. Studying how the refs treat him. I'm studying how he's talking to his teammates and they respond. I'm studying his relationship with him and Phil Jackson. I'm studying how the opponents look at him and fear him and all that. I definitely want that. He was the best in the game, and I wanted this spot.
Keep in mind, this is a Michael Jordan a season and a half removed from basketball and only 25 games into his return to the league. A 32-year-old MJ who hadn't quite gotten his touch back and was still adjusting to the hardwood, and he's putting up 31 and 7 a game on one of the best teams in the league. But none of that mattered to Shaq because in just his 3rd season, he became the only man to ever knock off Michael Jordan in his prime. The kid that wanted to be Jordan had beaten Jordan, and it would be nice and fitting if the story ended right here. A young Shaquille O'Neal dragging a once terrible team to their biggest playoff success in the organization's existence, slaying the once unbeatable monster in Chicago. But if there's one thing we've learned about basketball in the 90s, Michael Jordan always gets the last laugh.
Yeah.
As a creative, you know that creating great video is really hard. We built Frame.io to have all the video you're working on.
But honestly, even though he was in the years of his prime, I feel like around that time, that time span, I feel like he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't the best Jordan. Like he was coming back from uh playing baseball, and like the way they were training were totally different from how you would train in basketball. Like his body just he wasn't like he wasn't used to playing basketball at the time because he had to train his body to play baseball, and he had like baseball type conditioning or whatever. I'm talking about. I got this from the documentary. They went into like Jordan went into explaining how he had to train himself for baseball, and that was tough for him. And he just got adjusted to that, and then he retired. He didn't retire from baseball. He just left baseball and went to play basketball. And his body, he had to train to get his body into like a basketball type of like body for him to be conditioned to play 82 games in a season and play like 48 minutes in a game. And he said it was his conditioning. He couldn't adjust in that span of time of him playing like 25 games. So he wasn't himself. So yeah, he wasn't himself. So I don't think that wasn't the best Jordan. He wasn't his best self. So I don't think I wouldn't say this is prime Jordan, but it's in the years of his prime. But like he just came back to the league and just was it the same. But the next year he was back to himself. So yeah.
Following their defeat to the Magic, Michael Jordan and the Bulls went on their 1996 revenge tour, absolutely bullying their way through the entire league, breaking multiple NBA records and winning the most games in a single season at the time. A reminder to the NBA that Michael Jordan and his squad were still the best basketball team on the planet. But behind this return to glory, an underlying motive for their success was driving Jordan to get back to that rare moment of failure in the previous season, to get revenge on the only man to beat him while he was on top. Following a regular season where the Bulls won 2 of 3 matchups against the Magic, once again, Jordan and Shaq were set to face off in the playoffs, this time in the conference finals to decide who would go on to fight for a championship. Shaq thought it was his time, but Mike had to remind the Diesel that his time was up.
Michael has seen his teammates rise to the occasion, playing with the fire and determination that is the Bulls one win away from a trip to the finals. But one giant roadblock still stands in the way.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
Defense to start this ballgame out. Something different. A shot on the hand. God is guarding Michael Jordan. Hook and Bushler. Michael hosting up Bullied. Jordan with the rebound. Bullied with the rebound. With Jordan. Gone by in the third. Nice move by Utah. Jordan. Doesn't get an opportunity here. There's the hard spinning.
Like, how do you guard that?
Gave him the middle. Jordan operating against Bullied. Yes. Jordan to the feet at 6. Jordan in trail most of the way. Jordan.
I'm literally doing it.
Michael Jordan with the pull-up. Yes. 45 points.
After losing to the Magic in the season prior, the Bulls went on to sweep them in the 1996 Eastern Conference Finals, including a 38-point blowout in Game 1 and holding the Magic to just 67 points in Game 3. In the 1995 playoffs, the Magic won by an average margin of just 1.25 points, winning the series in 6. In the 1996 playoffs, the Bulls won by an average margin of nearly 17 points. A beatdown.
Jordan was definitely in a different zone. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Jordan wasn't in his prime in 1995. He wasn't. He wasn't the same Jordan. He was still trying to get his body back into to playing basketball where he can play 48 minutes the whole game, and yeah, like you have to be in a certain type of conditioning to play that long, and to have your body intact with playing in the NBA. So his body wasn't ready for that. He just wasn't conditioned for that. So honestly, when he got to 1996, the playoffs, he was just a different beast. Like, come on, he averaged 17 points, like beating them by 17 points. Like they averaged a 17-point margin from Magic, and they sweep them.
Of historic proportions. To put this series into perspective, the 2017 Warriors had one of the most dominating runs in NBA playoff history, going 16-1 on their path to a championship. In the finals, they nearly swept the Cavs, winning by an average margin of just 8.5 points. Jordan and the Bulls didn't just beat the Magic, they absolutely buried them in their own building. But despite getting swept, Shaq still held his own, putting up numbers that make you wonder how such a great player on a 60-win team could get walked like this.
Playing Jordan.
Yeah. They were playing the best player to ever touch a basketball on the best team in league history. But Jordan's beatdown on Shaq doesn't end there. See, from 1992 to 1996, the Orlando Magic were quickly becoming one of the best teams in the league, getting better every single season. They had a prime Shaq, a prime Penny Hardaway, a borderline all-star in Nick Anderson, and a 3-time champion in Horace Grant. The most lethal offense in the NBA, and they were fresh off of a finals appearance. They had all the tools to make a run at a championship for several seasons. But, of course, this never happened. Despite finding success in Orlando, Shaq took his talents to LA, and, of course, the rest is history. But one of the biggest what-ifs of 90s NBA is the Shaq and Penny duo. The idea of Shaquille O'Neal taking a new, underwhelming franchise to the promised land and rising up as the new face of the league. Now, there are several reasons as to why Shaq left the Magic, but one that is rarely addressed was his virtually unspoken rivalry with Michael Jordan. Was Shaq dodging Michael Jordan? Well, I wouldn't go that far. But the Diesel was, without a doubt, Shaq as long as he was in the East, and as long as Jordan was playing basketball, he would never be the guy. But, in hindsight, Shaquille O'Neal's shortcomings at the hands of Michael Jordan were actually a blessing in disguise for his career. Because after going toe-to-toe with MJ, every other player, every other team was, in Shaq's words, barbecue chicken.
Mike is the guy that taught me how to go to the next level. Walking off the court, Mike grabs me and said, before you succeed, you must first learn to fail. And that helped me out when I made the move to LA and kept failing, and came to the point where we got to win.
Yeah, that's a fact, because Jordan had to... There's a lot of times when coming up in his career, he didn't make it to the finals. Like, I mean, he didn't make it out the first round to like teams like Detroit, and there was like 3 or 4 times he had to go against Detroit, if I'm not mistaken, or was it just 2? If you all know, let me know in the comments. But I know they struggled going against Detroit, and they finally beat them. They had to fail a bunch of times until they beat them and made it to the finals and won against Lakers. That was their first title. Also, he had to go against Bird. He played amazing that series. Went to work. I think that was his second year in the league, and they made the playoffs. And he had 63 that series, but he still lost. Like, he still lost that series because that team was probably one of the best teams assembled in NBA history. They had to go against Boston, so they had to fail a bunch of times for them to be the best team assembled, which was the Bulls, probably 91 to 96. I mean 91 because when Jordan wasn't playing, they weren't that team, but like the 3 years of three-peat, the teams that did three-peat, those 2 times, those are the best teams of all time, like the Chicago Bulls dynasty. So yeah, they had to get from one point and fail all those times for them to get to the point of being the best team of all time. So yeah, it's definitely correct.
That's how I became who I am today.
So, although we can thank Michael Jordan for dismantling this team and stripping us from the most lethal young duo of the 90s, we can also thank MJ for running Shaq out of Orlando and giving us this.
Yeah.
Some rivalries have been cemented in history books because of the impact they had on the game. Others were so subtle that they virtually went undetected. With MJ out of the picture, a young Shaquille O'Neal thought he had the league on lock, that the throne was his for the taking. But Michael Jordan gave him a harsh reminder that the crown wasn't his quite yet. Hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, until next time.
Alright, so that's it for the video, man. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible, so hit that subscribe button, hit the bell beside the subscribe button so you can be notified when I post. This video was great.
Getting a website for free.
I hope you enjoyed this video too. So yeah, stay blessed, stay lit, and I'm out.